Up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, B, A, start or select start if you were playing with two players. Just the code alone is legendary. Never mind the entire game. The code is so iconic when it comes to this masterpiece of an 8-bit title. Legendary. Absolutely legendary. And much like my previous NES game, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, this is a game that you can absolutely just pick up and play anytime, anywhere. It's so easy to get wrapped up into this world. So easy. So easy. I mean, just an absolute blast of a game. And quite frankly, it set the blueprint of what a 2D side-scrolling platformer really was. Just like you see here, where you're jumping from cliff to cliff, cliff to cliff, you know, shooting, firing all at the same time, getting upgrades. I mean, just absolute chaos all over the place. Like, this was a blast to play with your friends or by yourself. You know, like it's just one of those gifts that keeps on giving. And to this day, they're still making Contra games based off of an 80s classic that this is. I remember my dad even getting me the sequel to this back when it first came out. And for all intent and purposes, if we're really being honest, when you even think of the cover art of Contra, it really was a picture of Dutch from Predator and John Rambo from Rambo. That's all it was. And it's a mixture of not only Predator but also aliens, and it was just the 80s satire wrapped up into one. It's just one of those games that will always just live rent-free in your head if you're a longtime gamer like myself. It's just one of those games, man, that just you always will remember, you will always covet, and you will most certainly always have a strong fondness for. And that's this game as a whole. Like, that's just this game as a whole, to a T. And again, there's so many iterations that came out of Contra. You know, first you had obviously the original, then you had Super Contra, that was the first sequel, and then Contra 3 was absolutely phenomenal on Super Nintendo. And on the opposite side of things, on Sega Genesis, you had Hardcore, which was such a great game too. Quite frankly, it didn't get the love and admiration that its counterpart got on the other side of the 16-bit console, which again, Contra 3, it tends to have gotten more love in the long term, or people remember Contra 3 more fondly than they do Hardcore for some reason, even though Hardcore was a better performing game overall with less slowdown, less lag in certain areas, especially when the screen started to get too full. And that's because Sega Genesis had a faster processor than the Super Nintendo, which was the only thing that it was superior at as far as specs are concerned. Now, I had both consoles. Both consoles were amazing in their own ways and rights, and I'm fond of both of those generation consoles respectively. But yeah, Contra as a whole, it's just one of those games that guys like myself will forever love and have admiration for. It was actually played a part in the beginning to make 2D platformers myself. as I recently have became a an indie game developer, coming off of my computer programming course that I started last year. And yeah, like this was the blueprint. This was the absolute blueprint for what most people would look at and base a game that they are creating, like myself, like I did. And you use it. You use it. Like, you look at everything of what made the game so great, what made the game so iconic, what made the game so legendary, and you try to apply that and put your own chef's kiss on it yourself. But be that as it may, you know, like I said, giving my flowers, giving just due to things that deserve it. Nobody would dispute that this is an absolute legendary game by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody would do that. But I am curious, though. I am very curious to hear, what is your favorite Contra game of all time? And of course, without the legendary original that I'm showcasing today, there would be no sequels. So I will always say the original Contra is the best Contra, even though all of them were great. But yeah, like I said, would love to hear from you guys. What's your opinion? And looking forward to seeing what you have to say.